What's the motherfucking deal, man? Welcome to the den. I'm glad that you could join me this evening. And I know some of y'all are like, well, Honcho, what happened with us? Like you said, Monday through Friday. Well, I owed y'all when I told y'all I'd give y'all a special den, and because of the lateness of the sauce stream yesterday after the Texans game, um, it just kind of crossed over to that time, so I pushed it back to today. And I said I wanted to get into, because I think there were still some people who wanted to talk about the mental illness conversation that didn't get a chance to voice their opinions last time. And there's some other things I wanted to get into. And, after figuring out some new things related to the Bryce Gowdy situation and some other stuff, I just kind of wanted to talk about that. But like I said, we're going to have a great 2 hours this evening. I'm your host, Ed Honcho, if you don't know. And again, it is an honor. It is a privilege. And most of all, it's my pleasure to be here. So let's see what we got joining us, man. Let's just get into it. Let's see. For the early birds, I have Empress, K Grace, John from New York, Sweet Berry, Cultured, what's the motherfucking deal? M Grace, just Sarah, Miss Brenda, Rashida, what's the motherfucking deal? D the Gamma, Miss Bell, Ronald Isley, Brandon 335, what's the motherfucking deal? And let's see who else we have in the chat that I may or may not have overlooked. Oh, that's where it's at. I guess we put this here. That works better. Heidi, just in time to get some early birds. Misty, what's the motherfucking deal? And I don't think I missed anybody else. So I did. Again, like I say, I apologize. So, El Lobo, what's the motherfucking deal, man? Glad you could join us. Yes, good to see you, man. Good to see you. Glad you could join us. So like I said, talking about the mental illness thing, talking about the Bryce Gowdy thing, and I wanted to dive back into that because of, like I said, some things, some people that reached out to me and said some things, and just some stuff I saw kind of around this, and then just the way the conversation has been going, I find it extremely odd. So let's talk about it, right? So what happened is somebody shared with me the mom's website that she had, and it was basically like a lifestyle blog or something like that. Beyonce, what's the motherfucking deal? And it was something like a lifestyle blog or something like that. And so, I mean, I'm just kind of figuring some stuff out, and just from reading the blog and just looking at what she was selling on there. Now, if you're into the metaphysical, if you're into the other stuff, that's fine and that's cool. But she seemed to be a little bit woo woo. You feel me? And so it's like Sly versus Arya would have been. Trust me, there's still going to be some juice left in the den. It's where we are right now. And like I said, she's kind of on some woo woo shit, right? Selling Tibetan bowls and prayer, like meditation rituals, like a bunch of weird shit. Like I say, just a bunch of crazy stuff that she was pushing. And again, if you believe in it, that's fine. But my thing is, oh yeah, meditation, reading, some like just some weird shit. And again, like I say, it's been it's been a little while since I read, a few days at least, so I don't remember everything. I'm sure some oils and stuff on there too. But like, my thing is, so you have this lifestyle blog, and it's called, My Three Sons, and sons like the sun. So when generally when people flip those words out, they're either into some like the Afrocentric thing, or some other shit. You know what I'm saying? And so my thing is, you're homeless, you're running a lifestyle blog, you're into some woo woo stuff, and that's kind of why that conversation. She's like, "Oh, your energy is too much for me right now." She was saying all those things. It makes so much more sense now, right? Aura, uh, readings, and things of that nature. You know what I'm saying? So it's like it makes much more sense because the conversation she had seemed like weird. It was weird. If you ever saw the video, I don't know if if somebody knows. Some people said they saw it, and I don't know if anybody else had a chance to see it since then. But it's just like questionable. You know what I'm saying? And so, like, her thing was just she's into some of the weird stuff. You know what I'm saying? And so, like I said, it is what it is. If you're into it, that's fine. You know, do what you do. You know, if it helps you get through life and all that stuff. But again, like I say, you're focusing on that. You got the homeless situation going on. I think that there's a reason. Like, I think a lot of people want to shit on the dad. Where's the dad? Where's the dad? But again, why didn't anybody in her family, apparently, if they all had, why weren't they living with them? Probably because she's on some other shit, and I wouldn't say she's burned some bridges, but who knows? Like, the uncle comes forward. This is when they talk to. Well, why didn't you allow her to, kind of get on her feet at your house? Why was she living from hotel to hotel? Y'all knew all these things that were going on. You talked about the son, the one who passed away, would come and work with y'all for a little bit, and during the summers and stuff like that. And again, brought up the thing that I said about feeling like he had to be the man of the house, and he was told that apparently. And so he felt like he had to take care of his little brothers. He felt like all that stuff. And so again, unnecessary pressure put on the child to have these far-fetched expectations, right? And then when he realized he couldn't own up to that, he's going through some things. His mentality is changing. She's worried about her energy and her aura and her period and all of that stuff, instead of being focused on, hey, guess what? These children are going through these things too. My child is tormented because, again, he's going to be living fine, and he knows that his two little brothers are out here struggling. And that mom's going to be out there in the streets, and he's going to be all right. And I know people say, well, hey, if he'd have stuck around, maybe he would have went to. It's a very small percentage of people that go to the NFL. You got to think about this, right? What is it like? 7 round, about. I mean, and then you got undrafted free agent and stuff. It's a few hundred people that get a shot at the NFL every year. And so this means that this young man would probably have to be at least playing for 2 to 3 years, putting up phenomenal performances, and again, not knowing what would be going on with his family. And then, the more sensible thing is to get your degree and, so that you have something to fall back on, just in case the NFL thing doesn't work. Like, just because you go to college doesn't mean you're going to go to the NFL. No matter if you're 4-star, whatever you may be. And so, my thing is, it's just like, again, unnecessary pressure that should have never happened to the kid, right? And like I said, I've had some people reach out to him. I'm not going to say from what or where, and I can't vouch or verify. But, and people said that, that the young man stayed with them for a few months. So he may have been, bouncing house to house. Again, like I say, put in the work to graduate early, to go to school early. Like, there's just unnecessary pressures that is on this young man. You know what I mean? Unnecessarily put into a position that he didn't ask to come into. He didn't have these kids. He didn't, none of this stuff. He didn't do any of these things. And yet, this responsibility is on him. And so, ultimately, couldn't handle it. And, it is what it is. Now, we talk about mental illness, and I think it takes tragic events. Sometimes it can be something maybe you're born with. I don't think it just comes out of nowhere. I think it's usually a tragic event or an unbearable situation that tends to weigh you down. And then it just puts you in a spot where you have no options, or you feel like the only way up is out, and that is taking yourself out. And again, it should have never been this situation. So again, I feel terrible for the family, but I think last I checked, they had raised over $70,000 for a GoFundMe. I'm not even gonna go here or there or talk about that really too much, because it's just something that never should have fucking happened. And people say, oh, you're just going hard on the moms, and, well, these men need to step up. Again, you don't know anything about the dad. You don't know what the situation is. Like I say, with her being on some kind of woo-woo stuff, it just kind of opened me up. Maybe the dad wasn't into that, and maybe she was on some far-fetched. The way she sounded in that fucking car, she could have been like that with the pops, and maybe their relationship just had strained. You know what I'm saying? Like, so again, I think a lot of things. I think you might remember child support, call you mental illness. like it could have just been one of them weird relationships that didn't work. Like I said, she who knows? Like maybe she was different at first, um, and then something, you know what I'm saying? Something changed, and maybe it didn't quite work out. So again, I don't know. I don't, and I think that they said the other two kids actually were not the father's. From what I was told, the other two kids were not his. Yet he embraced them too. So it is. It's just like it's a lot of crazy stuff that is going on. And now, like I say, and that's that part. And we talked about too. I think Misty had called in a couple of days ago and said something about being one step away from depression, right? Or one step away from mental illness or whatever. And again, you can talk about depression, we can talk about anxiety, we can talk about a lot of things. And I've talked in here, a while back about how I had a series of events that put me on a very bad path. And I mean just taking like losses after losses, and then like I said, I was in a legal situation that definitely hindered employment opportunities. Those lack of employment opportunities, end up hindering, the home situation. Then the health of my significant other at the time, deteriorated rapidly. Fucking dog died. Like I mean, just everything just started happening, and it seemed like all at once. And so, you're facing homelessness, you're facing, the death of a loved one, you're facing the death of a dog, had a, like I said, you went to jobs like a fucking car had broke. Like, I mean, just everything was like a domino effect in a matter of weeks, months, however you want to look at it. And it's just like, damn, I'm trying to do everything the right way. I'm trying to do it legit. I'm not trying to do any nonsense or any shenanigans. Like I'm following all the rules, but it's not working, right? And so when you feel like you've lost it all, it's hard to see past the next few days or whatever. And I'm say I've never gotten to a point where I would say I was suicidal, but it just got to a point where it's just like hard. Where do you go from here? You know what I'm saying? And it was tough, man. It was real tough. And like I said, I was down in the dumps for a long time. And to be honest, from time to time, I think about those situations, and like I said, I still have some of those things that are hindering certain things, but it's just like, damn, it's like, damn, and I know I fucked up as far as the legal situation. I own up to that. That's my own fault. There's nobody to blame but that. So I put myself in that situation and all of that, but it's just like shit. Okay, well I'm trying to do everything I'm supposed to, and it's just it's tough. So I can see why when people go through certain things that are traumatic, they, you know, they deal with it in certain ways. And some people, like I say, it gets to a point where you just can't see tomorrow. And for those people, they just say, you know what, this is it. And for me, it was just like, man, I can see it, but it just doesn't look good. The light, I don't see the light at the end. I see the fucking tunnel, but I don't see the light at the end of the tunnel. And like I said, I was down bad. Like I said, felt like a lot of people had jumped ship on me. Because like I said, when I was doing my nonsense and everything was good, shit. You got buku friends. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's there to enjoy the fun. But when things go a different way, people abandon ship. They jump ship. You see who your real friends are. And like I say, even with everything that was going on, it was just like, man, it's fucked up, And that's where, the last situation I was in, the last relationship I was in, a little while after everything just kind of was what it was, like I said, I didn't talk to people very much. Nobody even really knew what I was going through because I wouldn't fuck with nobody. And like I say, it was just good conversation. It changed my perspective on a lot of stuff. And again, like I said, it's not easy. It's still not easy. But like I said, I enjoyed it. It was just like a breath of fresh air in my life. Everything that was going on. And then, as that relationship developed, the father figure role and things like that, just, to try to influence the youth and things like that. And I can't lie, like I say, now that it's been gone, I feel a particular kind of way about it. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. It's a few years of your life that you with somebody, and again, it is what it is. But and that's why right now, like I say, it's a lot of focus on me and what I can do better. Because I can be honest, there, the reason things didn't fully come to fruition is mainly my fault. Like I said, because there's still a lot of issues that I don't talk about a lot, but I deal with. Um, Man, it hindered certain things, And like I said, I'm gonna get more into it, later on in the month because there's still some things we got to talk about. But like, and so that's why right now I know before moving forward and trying to embrace anything new, I still got some things that I have to deal with and I have to get over for me to be a better person, for me to be a better significant other or whatever you want to call it. So it is what it is. And that's why I say it often that I talk about how the den does definitely help me. It's given me a lot of perspective on a lot of things. It's very therapeutic, and so I appreciate everybody in the den for that because, like I say, it's sometimes sometimes I come in here and I have days that are not as good as other days, and just having the good conversations. It's interesting. It's intriguing. It definitely helps. So, when people sit here and say, "Oh man, you're a good listener, you're good this, whatever," it's because listening to you guys helps me reevaluate my own situation and just puts things in perspective. And like I say, so I got a long way to go, but we'll get there. We'll get there. So no worries in that. Other than that, everybody who slid in late, Broderick, Miss Thing. Let me see. JB Johnson, what's the motherfucking deal? Let's see. Sloan, what's the motherfucking deal? And everything else. Yeah, I've heard of Jocko, and I listen to Jocko from time to time. I listen to a lot of things from time to time. Like I say, sometimes like it's just, like I say, it's my thing is you can't avoid whatever issues and whatever problems that are going on. You have to take them head on, and so that's kind of where we're at right now. And you know, whoever, whatever. Oh, Shannon, what's the motherfucking deal? And 17, what's the motherfucking deal? And so, like I said, you just got to kind of take the shit head on and embrace it. And I think you get stronger from taking on the problem instead of trying to avoid them and do all that other stuff. And so, like I said, that's kind of where we are right now. But other than that, other than giving you all that, excuse me, that little nugget into my life, I want to hear what y'all got to say. Like I said, I want to know what you guys are thinking. God damn. I want to know what's on your mind. I want to know what's going on in your world as far as your thoughts on the Bryce situation, your thoughts on just mental illness as a whole.
Thank you for continuing this topic. It's a serious matter. Life is hard.
I agree. Thank you for the love, Dan Strong. Yeah, and I wanted to because I know that I felt like you may have had some things you want to say. I don't know if you caught the last one. And so definitely if you got something you want to call in and say, I definitely love to hear it. And and I felt like so we spent so much time kind of just, I don't want to say I don't think it was wasted, but we talked so much more about Bryce and some other things. And I just wanted to kind of give guys y'all an insight like, hey, everybody deals with certain things. Like I say, and I just want to be frank and honest and open. That me too. I got shit that I deal with, and so I don't want anybody to feel like they are ostracized or that they should feel a particular kind of way. Life is tough, man. It is. It definitely is. You think things are going to go one way, and sometimes a fucking tidal wave of shit just comes through and fucks it all up. But I'll tell you what has made some things easier. When you do find those good friends, when you do find good people, it's definitely good to have good friends. So that's why I say when you are, out and about, or you have a friend you haven't talked to in a while, and just check up on them, see how they're doing, say what's up, see what's good in their world. I think that's very important. Even if it's just a call to say, hey man, how you doing? Hey, is everything okay? Or if you see a friend acting differently, erratic, I ain't got the bottom. If you got your friend that's just kind of acting weird, differently, erratically, quiet, whatever it may be, check on them, man. I think it's extremely important that you. I think it's very important that you do that. You know what I'm saying? What you do, Heidi, is you go to a strip club, right, and you make it rain on yourself. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So you do that, and your friends say you're too grown to be checking on each other. No, you never get too grown for that. And shit, when you get grown, that's when you have more fucking problems. So, that is terrible. That's terrible. Them damn rats. Well, like I say, man. So again, I just want to say thank y'all. Appreciate y'all for being here. Give me just a moment. Let us open up. Let us open up the. Let me open up the deadline, and then we'll go from here. So let's see where are we at. Where's the dilly dally? No, that's completely not what I'm supposed to be putting in there. There we go. Well, I'm glad you did too, Miss Beyonce. Beat Beyonce. They're saying all the wrong shit. Beyonce's on the channel. It would definitely be a different crowd if that was the case. Let's see. Everything looking good. All right, let's go. And so, and again, like I say, with me and talking about, my certain situation, and it's weird because, I was always so used to being the guy that people came to for input, information, advice, and all of that stuff. But I'll tell you that may be my biggest flaw is doing the same. Like, as far as what I mean by that is like asking people for advice, or like it's a pain. You know what I'm saying? What's up, Miss Thing? It's a pain for me to do that. You know what I'm saying? Oh yeah, I've been dealing with the stresses. Turning my beard gray, but it's a pain for me to really do that. Like, I'm the type of person who would suffer in silence before doing too much. You know what I'm saying? So, it's like, if you are that type of person, if you do have that going on, I suggest, again, talk to somebody, reach out. Because like I said, I had a conversation on New Year's, and with a very good friend of mine, somebody who did kind of stick with me through, thinking they had some stuff that they were dealing with, in their own. I mean, they told me something, or they reminded me about some things, and no, terrible. They reminded me about some things, and it's just like, you know what, you're motherfucking right. And so at that point, I have definitely had a change in the mentality of the last few days, and it's not fucking New Year's, new me. It's just that the way I've looked at some stuff is much different, and so now, like I say, it's time to get it in, man. It's just like, yeah, I ain't worried about that. It's not gonna happen, JB. Not gonna happen at all. But let's get it. Let's take some calls. See what we got calling in. What's the motherfucking deal? Who we got calling in to the den this evening?
Hey, it's Belle. How are you?
Doing well, Miss Belle. How are you this evening?
Good. I'm kind of sad to hear that the mom just didn't kind of have her shit together to be able to cope and deal with her kids on a healthy level mentally. Mm-hmm. It doesn't sound like she had coping skills or parenting skills enough to let her children be who they needed to be. Secondly, something I actually heard today, which I found it to be pretty sage advice, is that it's not healthy to take the past into the future. And what I took from that was it's time to put some of those, things to bed before you're starting anything new this year. And so that's kind of where I'm at. I'm kind of digging some dirt up and, putting things to rest so that I can enjoy my life and let the stress come down. And I agree with some of the other people in the den who had expressed the fact that different types of mental illness do certainly run through families. Our family is depression and addiction. And somebody asked me, well, how do you know? I said, it pretty much is like a waterfall. There isn't too many that don't have some sort of one thing or another going on. But it's the fact of recognizing and stepping up and making a personal choice of how you're going to deal with it and bringing your A game to it once you've decided that you're going to do something about it. Because as we all know, the only person that we can fix is ourselves.
Correct.
And you can lead a horse to water. You can dunk the fucker underneath the water, but unless they choose to drink, it's not going to happen. And they're going to stay at their own bottom until they're ready to come up.
Correct.
Now, if they don't have the coping skills, that's a whole different set of things to work with. And I probably went on a broad enough subject. I'm going to sit back and just kind of let everybody else bring it to the table tonight.
Okay. And I agree
Unless
with
you have any questions.
I agree with what you said about bringing your past to the future. And that's kind of what they say it is in a simple form. That's depression. When you're carrying the past to your future, that's a form of depression. And then anxiety is when, you're trying to bring the future to right now and you're anticipating all of the, the stuff that, of course, you never know what the fuck is going to happen. But so I think that is important. You have to let go of those things. If you hold too heavily on the past, it will definitely drag you down in more ways than one. So I agree.
But that's why they say living in the moment is a gift, because it's the present.
Wow. it can be a tough thing to do too, to be in the moment with everything that you deal with. But I think when you and I'll be honest, like when you do focus on the moment and just being here, being present, it is the best feeling. So that's what you have to work with. You have to.
I wonder how many people truly actually live in the moment as much as possible, or is it that back and forth thing?
I think it can be tough. I think you have to build up a habit of doing it consistently. I think you have to be able to recognize when you are causing yourself unnecessary anxiety or when you're causing yourself unnecessary depression, and you have to just kind of figure out a way to balance it out. So I think a lot of people go back and forth, but I think, like I said, I think you just have to be mentally aware of when you're doing that, and try to focus on just being here and now.
So the other question is how many of us are that self-conscious or self-aware on a regular basis, whereas how many of us are just floating through life because some things are a shitstorm, to be honest with you, and we've all had moments of shitstorms, or how many are just really conscious of where they are and what they're doing?
I don't think a lot of people are very conscious of themselves. I don't think a lot of people are very self-aware, and I think that could be part of the problem. But I think that you have so many people who are looking, and I think that's why you have the issues we do now, like say in society, as far as social media, as far as with entertainers and everything. Why people love it, they're so focused on what everybody else is doing. They know everything else is going on around the world, but they have no idea what's going on inside themselves, and so they end up, getting caught up in certain feelings or whatever you want to call it, and they don't take the time to figure out themselves. So I don't think very many people are. I think it's a few, and I think those people who do, I won't say they necessarily do better, but they have a better opportunity to improve their situation, whatever they may be going through.
I also believe that mental health is completely underreported on so many levels. But the other thing is that in different types of positions and jobs and certain things, that if you report having any sort of mental illness, you're closed off from that particular community. Even owning a handgun, if you have certain types of depression or certain diagnoses, then you are refused right to be able to bear arms. And I find that to be interesting. I don't say it's wrong, because obviously if you've been diagnosed, then there's a necessary thing. But I just find it interesting that to just think about, how it affects things.
Correct. Yeah, I mean, I don't fault you for that, because I think if you're going through some things, you don't want to enhance any opportunity for you to do damage to self. But I think where there's a will, there's a way. If somebody really wants to go that route, I mean, like Mr. Shit, the story of the lady just walking off the bridge or whatever, and that is, that probably was unexpected. Probably, nobody thought that would happen. But how do you stop someone from doing that if you don't know how far gone they are?
That is absolutely the truth. I mean, the thing is as a parent, we try to look and find those critical moments, but as much as we want to be aware, you just don't know. Sometimes we, as human beings, just miss the signs because shit happens, and we're either caught up in our own stuff or we just don't see it. And it's not an excuse. It's not a reason. It is what it is sometimes in life. I just find this particular story so tragic and sad.
Yeah, I do too.
When it possibly could have been prevented. I don't know. Anyway, I've been on far too long, and it's time to let somebody else talk for this evening.
Okay. Well,
good.
Hey, well, I was going to say, I appreciate you getting it started, getting the conversation rolling. Mm-hmm. And as we know, the bell has rung and class is in session.
All right. Good night, Honcho.
All right. Have a good evening, Ms. Bell. What's the motherfucking deal? Who we got calling into the den this evening?
Hey, it's Dan, man. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Dan, how are you doing this evening, Dan?
I'm doing all right, bro. Doing all right, man. Just, I appreciate your format. Appreciate you hitting hard topics. It's been a lot of decent stuff lately. I was just thinking about the topic, and I missed the last one for the most part. I wanted to call on this one because I have to be honest. I think that confession I made a few days ago kind of sparked a lot of this off. I'm not trying to put myself on a pedestal or anything.
No, yeah,
but I mean, that was a very sudden thing. Usually people confess things like, I robbed somebody, or I slept with my brother's girlfriend, or some crazy shit like that. But I figured I've been honest with the group about a lot of things, so I might as well just go for broke, just tell them one of the darkest moments of my life. So I said, let's do it. And yeah, man, so hopefully people are learning something from this. Everyone's entitled to their opinions. God bless them. It is what it is. But mental illness, and I noticed you mentioned specifically the black community. It's a serious problem. It's serious. And it's been ignored a lot of times. And the reason is because no one wants to be viewed as weak.
Correct.
And let me explain what happened. Okay, so November 2018, I attempted suicide. And if you haven't heard about this, that's what happened. I was in a mental hospital for a year. And I'm hearing that my previous place I worked at back in Japan, the commanding officer saying that I just couldn't handle it, I was weak, and he said it's running the entire command, like 200-some people. So, you got to deal with that. Your family hearing about it from, halfway across the country. Oh, yeah, so-and-so's back in the States. What for? Oh, he did this. Like, really? Oh, my God. And then there's stuff going over there you try to deal with while you're still going through your problems. I spoke with a psychologist for a year. No, I loved her, though. She really helped me out a lot. I avoided pills because I didn't want to be relying on any sort of medication for my well-being. I had to deal with a lot of issues, and a lot of it was stress and constantly putting myself on like this not pedestal, you'd say, but constantly like trying to handle everything myself. And I had people at my previous work center and at the hospital say, "Hey man, you just gotta relax, bro." And that's like 6 months before this November, well, the last past November, I told myself, I can't do this military shit anymore, man. This is one of my main issues right here, just the level of stress I put on myself trying to get the job done. It's just insane. And then the loneliness that went involved. And it's just, you know, when I first got to Japan, it was really fun. I didn't go around getting drunk and trying to sleep with every chick who, you know, was foreign to me, all that. A lot of guys did that. I didn't do that because I'm like, look, man, I've been like chugging bottles of liquor my entire life. I need to leave that shit alone. I haven't drank in like about a year now, so that's probably a good thing. You know, but I think a lot of people, especially in the black community, ignore mental illness because you look at it as weak. You know, you going to hell. You know, especially that whole religious tint to it because black America is mainly Christian and suicide is a sin in our religion. So, you know, you going to hell. What would your mama say? You know.
Yeah, that's true.
You know,
That's definitely true.
nigga, what's wrong with you? You know. You know, nigga, that's white people shit, and that's the thing that kills me, that white people shit thing, man. You know, I think as black Americans, we need to emulate some more of white America, like the relatively lower rate of homicides to ours. How about that one? Like Destiny Harrison. That story still pisses me off.
Yeah.
And no one's come forward as of yet, and it's not the only one. And that's more mental illness, the level of crime in our community. Not all that is drugs. Some of that is people who have serious issues with it starts to see some mental illness is like hereditary. I think the previous person was mentioning some of that drug addiction, alcohol, which I consider a drug. I mean, you know, it's all drugs to me at this point. Drug addiction, that can be hereditary, genetic. I think certain mental illnesses like bipolar disorder. You cannot tell me some of the people you've met that you've seen and you heard do some wild shit. You cannot tell me if you knew them for a while before this happened that didn't have some sort of imbalance. They were always yelling at people or they had emotions that were triggering on and off. You cannot tell me that some of this shit was just drugs or he just talked to him the wrong way and he stepped on his pumas, whatever. Some of this shit is like undiagnosed illness.
Right.
And it's ignored. You think go to church and pray away. Well, Negroes been praying for about 70, 80-something years, and I think shit's getting worse. That's just my opinion on black America. You need to get out the church and actually confront these problems. And it's not just that. I mean, let's say a child gets molested, right? And I just read a story about that. Like, what happened a lot of the times in the black community is we keep things quiet. You go, especially if it was like something involved in the church. A lot, and people I'm related to were affected by people in the church in a sort of like sexual assault manner. I'm not gonna say names, but like what happened was people kept it quiet. Talk to the church, talk to the pastor about it,
Correct.
and not let this child heal. Not let them get justice for what was committed against them. Not teach them what was done to you was wrong and it's not your fault. A lot of people brush that to the side. And growing up with guilt and shame, that fucks people up. And there's a lot of that shame and guilt and anger that happens to us as kids because daddy wasn't there or mama was out sleeping around or the house smelled like Hennessy and Dro. You know, what's a functional, stable environment for a child? It's not what a lot of us saw. I saw a lot of shit growing up that I know ain't functional, and I accept that. I don't think there's something wrong with me for not liking it. I just know that this wasn't right, so I'm doing my best to stay away from that. You know. But that being said, about all the dysfunction, all that stuff, in my certain situation, even though the situation, all the stress that was put on me due to the military and their BS, I still take full responsibility for what happened. I don't blame anyone else. But I remember I was speaking to my psychologist back in San Diego, and she said, "You made a mistake." And I was like, "No, doctor, I made a decision. I was completely sober when I did this. When I wrote the suicide note, when I emailed my family, when I gave my bank account information, when I made sure my title of my car, my brother knew where it was at, and later at night I swallowed 40-some pills. I did that. I did that shit. And I paid the consequences for that. Now, a year later, it actually helped me out. I'm about to be in college next week, and I got a decent check for disability for mental illness, not to mention all the physical shit. Ringing in the ears, bad knees, bad back, my shoulder's fucked up. You know, give me a little cheese, I'll take it. But, you know, I'm going to have to live with that for the rest of my life, what happened. I'm glad it ended out decently. You know, I was able to, you know, bounce back from that, and I said, look, I'm here now. It's not where I wanted to be, but let me try to fix things to where I got to change what's going on. Because 6 months before I got the Navy, I said, this time next year I'm going to be in college. I'm going to have a steady job, and I'm going to be focusing on school. And I'm halfway there now.
And I think you just
So,
can't let that situation define you. You know, it was an incident that took place, and I mean, yeah, you have to deal with it. But I think as long as you don't let that be the thing that defines, you know, you and who you are, I think you can grow and you can progress from that, man.
I think I'm there. And, you know, being back in my family, that's helping too. I mean, I'm dealing with some drama as usual, but that was kind of unavoidable. But that's family, right? So, you know. And some of the times your drama might come from your family, and you have to confront that as well, you know. So you got to deal with that too. I think a lot of us, we you know, put stuff under the bridge. We don't confront our issues and let them build up. And you let shit build up and let it eat you away. I've mentioned that before. I've called in a few times. You can't do that. The previous caller was absolutely right. Absolutely right. That shit will kill you, because it almost killed me. Almost killed me, man. It's easier to say in my situation now, because I actually, you know, I'm better off now. I'm not in that stressful environment anymore, and I'm in somewhere I want to be. You know, that happens to a lot of people. But it's hard, you know, it's hard to tell you what to do in your situation, because I've never walked in your shoes, you know. So, it's hard, man. All I can do is just try to help out people that I feel, you know, I need to help out. And just, well, first off, take care of yourself. Yeah. You can't do shit for no one else if you are not straight yourself. And then help people you feel, well, even then, you still need to have limits, you know. I'm learning that too. But yes, it kind of, yeah, that's all I got to say, man. I just want a bit more detail on my situation, and now I understand, you know, it's looked at as being weak, and in my case, I felt I was very weak. And there's still going to be some shame I have with that. I don't want to live on that shame, but I keep it with me to remember to not put myself in that situation again, by stressing myself out. Now, that being said, the situation I was in, supporting 7 squadrons with 4 people and 100 pieces of equipment you have to deal with, and if you've ever been in the military, you know how these people talk to you. You know you want to put your hands on them, you can't. You've been lonely for the past 7, 8 years. That's what I was going through. Not to mention all the shit that I dealt with in college, growing up, and I never handled it properly, and that's what it led to. I just said, I'm done here. I hope you never get to it. There's some point in your life where your heart's broken enough to where you realize nothing can hurt me anymore. I'm about there now, but I want to pull back from that.
Yeah, that's the thing with especially when you're talking about heartbreak, and that might actually be a very interesting topic for the near future, is love and relationship, all that stuff, man. It's a fucking gamble. But I think sometimes you gotta roll the dice to try to find that one, or the one you hope for it to be the one. And I think that you can go through so many situations where it's the wrong one or wrong way. It can make you feel like, you know, everybody's like that. But you have to, you know, you just have to say, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna try again. You know, if that's what your ultimate goal is. But if not, you know, then you can always be reserved. But I think it's just as bad that way as it is, you know. I mean, there's different levels to it, but. I mean, to me, it's just a gamble. It's a roll of the dice.
No, I agree, because, like, right now I'm kind of on a monk mode. You know, I'm just doing my own thing, you know. I'm not like, I hate women are evil. I'm not on that mode. No, my niece is amazing, you know, so I don't hate all women. It's just like, I want to make sure I'm stable financially and physically and mentally before I approach a situation like that again. You know, it's you have the polar opposites. You have people who just stay alone their entire lives, and some of these people are just really sad how they just, you know, aren't able to enjoy that companionship. And some of these people go off the deep end and kill themselves or kill other people. And some of them incel dudes we're talking about, them crazy motherfuckers, bro. That's that one polar opposite. And then the other polar opposite is these people constantly in dysfunctional relationships. They got 5 kids, got STDs because they just can't stop fucking. So that's like polar opposites, I guess. If that might be a bad analogy, I don't know.
I mean, this is true.
But that's just, yeah, yeah. I stay away from all that. I ain't shooting up no schools, and I damn sure ain't about to have 4 kids. So I'm just gonna do my own thing. I might date a little bit, but I'm focusing on my education and my finances.
I think that's the wise.
I think that's the best bet right now. But that's all I got, Mr. Honcho, man. You got anything else for me, brother?
No, sir. I don't think I do, man. But I'm glad you were able to call in and I'm glad you were able to, just kind of express your thoughts on this one. Because, like I say, and like I said earlier, yeah, it was partially based off, the call you had the other day, and then after the incident happened with the young man, the Bryce Gowdy. Like I said, I just felt like the topic had been kind of
Yeah.
popping up a couple of times. So I said, you know what, let's get into it. And so then I wanted to bring it back because I know there were some people who still wanted to get a chance to speak on it that didn't get a chance last time. So I'm glad you were able to today.
Oh, I appreciate that, Honcho. All right, Dan, y'all do your thing, man. Honcho, I appreciate it. And one more thing, man. Can someone please catch the dude who killed this woman in front of her baby in the store? You have 5 people in the store. No one's, it's just, this is that dysfunction I'm talking about. Some of it's mental, some of it's cultural. Black people got to do better, man. But I'm a coon, I'm an Uncle Tom, race trading house nigger. Go ahead, go speak that shit. It is what it is, man. I just had to chime in, bro, man. So yeah, just start snitching. There you go. That's all I got to say. Start snitching. That's it. Well, yeah, Honcho, you have a good night, brother.
All right, Mr. Danderman. Mr. Danderman, I'm glad that you're able to call in and, like I say, share that with us. And, man, it's always good talking to you, man.
Thanks, Honcho. Okay. Y'all have a safe night, yo.
You too. Have a good evening.
All right.
What's the motherfucking deal? Who we got calling into the den this evening?
This is D.
What's on your mind, Miss D?
Well, I was listening to what Miss Bell was saying, and I forgot who just called. Who was that? Mike?
No, that was Dan the man.
Oh, okay. Like I said, I've stated before in the chat that I've been through a lot of traumas from age 8 all the way up until
Just Sarah donated $2 through Super Chat.
And
much love, Dan the civilian really man. Sparkling heart.
Counseling.
Sparkling heart.
I just pretty much tried to keep moving and keep going like everything was okay. Try to be strong about it and not really share too much about what had happened or whatever. But I can vaguely remember being in the 5th grade, sitting by the window, wanting to open up the window and jump out of it.
In the 5th grade?
And in the 5th grade, dealing with, the abuses that I was facing at home. And I constantly got picked on, bullied, and then go home and have to deal with being abused at home. So I never really felt like I was worthy of anything growing up. Like I said, from 8 years old up until I turned 36, which the last tragedy happened when I was 36. And I mentioned it in the chat before, but I was accosted by some man I don't know, and he raped me and beat me with the inch of my life, and he held me captive for what felt like 6 hours. It could have been longer, it could have been shorter, I don't know, but in my mind going through it, that's how long it felt. And I never really told anybody about it. I didn't even tell my mom, because I felt like she wouldn't really care or understand because of what had happened to me as a child. So I just didn't go to her with that. And so I can say that the 4 times that I tried to commit suicide, I don't know, God wasn't through with me, because like I should have been gone. It was really the first time I tried to commit suicide, but it just never happened. And then I get mad because I'm like, okay, I can't even do this right. So I had that whole thing going on. Mad because I couldn't take myself out.
Well, unfortunately, you were unsuccessful at that. You don't want to be great at everything. And again, like I said, we would have never got a chance to speak with Miss Dita Gamble. You never have a chance to, share some of the stories. And even though you're a Titans fan, right, which is terrible, but you all right.
Hey.
But so, and one, I'm really sad. I'm sad to hear that. That's crazy. But as you've continued to live, how have you found like a way to deal with it? Do you continue to kind of just push on without trying to think about it too much? I mean, like where are you at this stage in your life?
Well, I can honestly say that when I, joined my sorority and being around a lot of positive women helped me so much because I had other people to talk to and I bonded with. And so, like, one of my sorority sisters, she actually came to the hospital when they admitted me to the hospital because, like, I had swallowed like 30 bottles of pills. And she came and got me. And if it wasn't for her, the way she talked to me and just really loved on me, that helped me not to really never want to do that again.
Yeah.
You know, because like I said, they put me in the hospital, and I was there for about a month with no strings in my shoes and the skid-proof socks and all of that, and away from my family. And that was like the worst month of my life.
That's why. Well, I mean, and again, I agree. I think that's what you just said is, and I think some other people have mentioned is just that having that support system can be the most beneficial thing. You know.
Yes.
But 30 bottles of pills.
I'm not 30 bottles, but it was about 30 pills in all. It's 3 bottles, but 30 pills.
Okay. That's still, damn. That's wild. The pill route is I can barely take aspirin and shit. So that's definitely a lot. You know, do you feel like you've ever dealt with anybody else that is going through issues? Have you ever spoken to other people you felt like have had some issues going on and things like that?
Like in my family, like with my like I said, I think it's hereditary because I've seen my niece go through it, my sister, my daughter, my mother.
Louis the 17th donated $1 through Super Chat.
I heard my
Through
mother
early
having a
morning fog I see visions of the
uncle,
things to be,
and apparently
the pains that are withheld from me. I realize and I can see that suicide is painless. It brings on many changes.
My mom flipped out.
I can take or leave it if I please.
I guess he gave her the couch. She did a medicine on that couch. She took the couch completely up, shredded it, cut it, broke it all in pieces, and threw it out the door. And so, like, I've seen it in my family. That's why I think it's hereditary.
Okay. So we were the previous call mentioned about the Black community and how we look at mental illness and these things. Do you think that it's often overlooked in the Black community? We just push it under the rug. Oh, you just being weak, or you just crazy, or whatever it is.
Well, society tells us that we're crazy and we can't cope and we can't handle things. I just feel like Black families don't want to talk about it. They don't want to put these offenders in the spotlight like it was my stepdad. My mom knew full well what he was doing, but the fact that she wanted to have this perfect family appearance, that everything he did was kept a secret. And I think that's what happens with a lot of Black families, that they know what's going on, but they don't want nobody in their business, or they're going to split up the family and this and that and the other, when they should put a spotlight on it and get it into the forefront and get it solved and help these children.
I agree. You do see a lot of that, and like I say, I've known of some situations where that has happened way too often. You don't want the father figure, stepdad or whoever it may be, or having a man in your life or whatever, and you let these children suffer for the sake of having some type of association. You're damned off better by yourself than having people like that in your household, because again, there's going to be residual effect from that.
Yep. But I think I deal with it better now because I have talked about it a lot more than I ever have. And it does help. Every little bit does help. I know I'm stronger. I don't cry. Like, I used to break down and cry, even the thought of it. I don't do that anymore. I can talk about it without having those feelings. Um, there's still a lot of anger, of course, but for the most part, the hurt feelings and feeling helpless, I don't have that anymore.
Okay. Well, I'm glad that you make some progress, and that you're able to talk about it, and I'm glad you're able to share that with us. To give people just understand, because like I said, I feel like we always have people in the den who may have some things that are going on, who just may be listening, who may not want to say too much anything. And I think that sharing stories like this is not only beneficial for yourself to be able to get it out there, but for helping other people too.
Mhm. But that's all I got. I don't want to haul up the line too long, but I appreciate you taking my call.
Okay, okay. All right. Well, I appreciate it, Ms. Dita Gammon. I thank you for sharing your story with us this evening.
All right, thank you.
All right, have a good evening. Interesting. The feeling of helplessness is extremely interesting. Like I said, when I told y'all about, when I was going through things, that's kind of, like I say, of all the stuff that was happening, like I said, when I was losing my significant other, that was the most painful, because like, I'm not a fucking doctor. I'm not, this, that, I can't fucking diagnose shit. And the fact that I just have to sit there and watch her wither away, and that shit, to me, was just, it was the worst. Like, just knowing that this time is coming, you know. And then I can only imagine how she felt, everything she had to go through. And then just to basically draw out a couple extra months of, nothingness. So
Dan Strong
again,
donated $20. My mother was a victim of repeated child molestation. She never was allowed to heal. This eventually led to her young death. We have to protect our children.
Damn. Thank you for sharing it. I appreciate the love. Shout out to just Sarah and 17, Louis 17. Appreciate the love too. Yeah, and then that's a problem that happens way too often too. But like I said, it's just, listen to the kids, man. And I saw some fucked up shit the other day though, because it was a mom or baby's mom or whatever trying to coach her kids to say that the dad was harassing us because she wanted more money or something like that. Like, that's not something to fucking play with. Like, that's the type of shit that gets you missing. Like, people playing those goofy ass games, but when there's too much of this real stuff going on, people are, I mean, it's some of the worst fucking stories out there, and it's unfortunate that a parent, this person who gave birth to you especially, is not willing to listen to you, to hear you out, to hear the things that you have to say, because they're concerned about, having somebody else in their life. And to me, it's again, it's a problem. It happens to our far too. I don't have any fucking solution for it. If the person who brought you into this world is not trying to protect you, then who will? You know what I mean? And so that's those type of situations are really, really fucked up. And it's just, man, it's wild, man. Yeah, this is definitely a tough den this evening. It's a lot of things going on, but I'm glad that people are sharing, because people have problems, people have issues, people have things that are going on. And again, I think that's part of what the den is here for. It's good to have it's good to have fun, to clown and talk shit and be toxic and everything like that. But at the same time too, and this is part of the diversity of conversation, is that we discuss these things. And again, somebody may just be listening. We don't know. And somebody just may be listening and just feel like, hey, this is something they need to hear. Maybe it'll give them insight on maybe how to handle a situation or a problem that they're dealing with. But, again, so I send another thank you to everybody who is sharing. And that kind of makes me, when I'm talking about the person who loves you the most is who is not protecting you. That's how I felt about the kid, man. That's how I felt. You know what I'm saying? Don't do that, man. But like the kid, the young kid Bryce Gowdy, like I said, man, you put them in a situation, she's worried about how her energy feels, and you not recognize that your kid is going through something. Now it's not as traumatic as, him being molested or going through that, but it's obviously a problem going on. And for you to be so concerned with what you got going on in your head, your mind, body, whatever, that, especially to be an aura reader and all that other shit. And that's why I say that the shit just disgusts me. And you gotta say I'm single mom bashing, which I'm not bashing all single moms. I'm bashing this particular single mom. Which I think that her decisions have a lot more to do with her situation than people want to let on. You just say single mom and people get sad and upset. We gotta save them. We gotta protect them. Some of them are terrible. Some of them are horrible. Some of them are pieces of shit. And it is what it is. A beautiful mind. I don't think I've ever seen a beautiful mind. I don't think I have. What's the motherfucking deal? Who we have calling into the den this evening?
Hey, brother, it's El Lobo, man. First time calling.
All right. What's up, El Lobo? What's on your mind? Yeah, I know you slid in the den for the first time. You caught a particularly interesting topic. This is definitely a much more somber night than usual, but I'm glad you could join us. What's on your mind, Mr. El Lobo?
Well, man, and by the way, you said you on first off, kind of lighthearted. You've heard of Jocko, you've heard of David Goggins, right?
Yes, both of them. Yes, absolutely. I'm a big fan of David Goggins.
Who do you think? Hey, who do you think is the better motivator, or I should say, who do you think is the better? I should say, speaker of the two.
I've listened to a lot more Goggins than I have of Jocko, so I think I would be biased to lean towards David Goggins, but I think Jocko brings a lot of insight from the things that I've heard from him. They're both very direct, and I like that because I think you got to have that kind of conversation. But like I said, I'm much more familiar with David Goggins and his whole story, and kind of what he does as compared to Jocko. So I would definitely end up leaning David, but like I say, it would just be because of the amount of information that I've seen from him compared to Jocko.
Well, I have to say Goggins, somewhat. I mean, because of I identify more with him, as far as story and everything, being brought up the way I was, and I mean, I was born with a mental illness. To this day, I still get. I guess I'm getting evaluated for, believe it or not, for high functioning autism.
Really?
Yeah. So now, there's no guarantees, and a lot of the doctors I've talked to have said no, you don't got it. Which, in my opinion, I don't think I do either. Mm-hmm. But I honestly don't care, and in reality. Okay. Am I echoing?
No, you're good. It's not good on my end.
Okay. Well, man, as you know, man, I've been all over the world, man. I've been to America, the Americas. I've been to Europe. I've been to the Caucasus. I've been to the Middle East. I've been to West Asia. And, the only continent I have not been on, the only two continents I've never been on is Australia and in Africa. But I would have to say, as far as, mental health, an agency has a lot to do with it. And you know what agency is, right, Honcho? Mm-hmm. Well, the breakdown of the family unit, I know there's another gentleman that said something about it. I didn't really get it all. But it does have a lot to do with it, with your surroundings and your support system, and with who you have around you. And I've been to all these countries, and whether some people want to believe this or not, this is a hard fact that we are still the freest and have the most dignity of individual freedom of any country in the world. And so, sorry, Honcho, I'm echoing a little bit or something like that. I'm going to turn down my volume. Hold on. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're good on my end, like I said. Yeah.
Okay. And the reason why I've seen that and why I put so much emphasis on individuality is because that, we all have the freedom to define our own destiny. And I understand some people have a farther starting line than others. You know what I'm saying, Honcho? Mm-hmm. And it's just that I think a lot of people, and this is what David Goggins has said, that a lot of people put a lot of limitations on themselves and put a lot of I guess you want to say, well, I got this and I've got that, And instead of, and I mean, there is nothing wrong with acknowledging that you have a problem. There's nothing wrong with, seeking help and all that stuff. But there's another, because, I struggled with depression. The other gentleman, the other military gentleman that was on there long ago, I mean, a little bit while ago, I mean, his story was kind of like mine a little bit, except I had my deployments and etc. I was, stationed with Army, Marines, Navy, all of them. I mean, I was Air Force myself. But it's, and I saw we all went through different things, and we all came from different backstories, but it's also, what I think a lot of what gets lost is the will to act, and the will to know you have a problem, and the freedom to take action on it. You know what I mean? And to also, and this is going to sound harsh to some people, but not letting it kick your ass. And for the longest time, that's what I let my problems do. I let them kick my ass. You know what I mean, Honcho?
Yeah, I completely understand.
And it ruined my relationship with my now ex-fiance, because I blamed everybody for my problems. And not, from the military, for me being a CO and all this other kind of problems that I had, now take it, like I said, I'm not the most cognitively normal individual out there, and I understand that, which is, why I keep my circle really small, because not everybody, can get down with a dude like me. And it's, I understand that things get, are hard and everything, but it's just like I always, like David Goggins says, what you do with every day and what you do for improvement is going to say, how much you improve, what you put into it, do you want to waste time, feeling sorry for yourself? Do you want to waste time, blaming God, because I'm not going to say I'm a highly religious person, because I'm honestly really not, but I am a believer in a divine intelligent creator, and I believe that he gave me, gave you, gave all of us, who is able mind, to the freedom, to go above and beyond and to correct yourself and correct any problems you have, as well as make decisions for your life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's, and I see, like, so many people, blaming their mental problems, for the problems that they create, and, I do, like, my cousin, he just got out of jail. And he blames, his problems, on other things, now take it, he's the complete opposite of me. He's like a genius, honestly. Too smart, in my opinion. And it's like, and he blames, and he said, well, this and well, that. And I asked him, did somebody hold a gun to your head and make you do this? No. And then I asked him, then what are you complaining for? And, and as far as like mental health, as far as veterans go, I mean, it is ridiculous, man. I mean, a lady down here where I'm at, you're familiar with the Brazoria County area, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, this lady, real nice lady. I mean, she has, dude, like, just a small clinic, man, 50 caseloads, one lady. I'm like, man, that is ridiculous, man. And it's, I still have to go to therapy for, for the things I experienced and everything. I'm not going to get into them, but it's just, but it's also, there's nothing wrong with seeking help, but it's also, in my opinion, what are you doing to be proactive in it too? Are you in the gym every day? Are you educating yourself? And what has really helped me, honestly, and a lot of people don't, like, it's not really a cool thing to do these days, is I read books now, man. It's like, how much are you educating yourself? I mean, because that's been my life now recently, Honcho, for the last year and a half, ever since, I've been on there with Sauce Nation. It's been, gym, work, school, gym, work, school, home, or home, gym, school. It's one of the three, in no specific order. But what I noticed is, and what a lot of people in my family once told me, is because I felt like I was never going to get out of the hole or the dark place in my life after me and my fiance broke up. They once told me, if you stay the course, you might not feel like you're getting anywhere, but your bad times will get better. I mean, Jocko Willink once said, if you make discipline a part of your daily life will get better. I mean, I don't know if you heard about it, Honcho, but he had a thing called, discipline equals freedom. Did you ever hear about that?
I don't think I heard his, but I've heard that kind of connection from some other people that I listen to.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's saying that, motivate people think motivation or, medication or meditation or whatever, all these Asian words, and I mean, I'm not trying to say there's anything wrong with praying. I mean, I pray from time to time myself, but it's, I mean, like people think God, I mean, like people, when they talk about God and is going to help them, I said, yes, God will help you. But you're acting like, I said, there's a difference between God and divine power and magic. And, if you're thinking like a magic trick is going to get your life better, it's not, I mean, motivation and all these things are just feelings, and like feelings that they're fickle, which means that they come and go, like all feelings do. And it's, or most feelings, I should say. And they said, but discipline is something that you dictate. It's something that you control. It's in your world. And so what that means basically is if you have the discipline, to be proactive, get up every day, be disciplined enough when you aren't motivated, it's going to make your life that much better because you got a mission, I mean, you got to, and I mean, that blocks a lot of, mental illness and mental weakness is staying the course on your mission, whatever it is. Mine is right now to get my degree using the benefits I earned, to achieve it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, Honcho, I mean, you got a great thing going with Sauce Nation, The Den, Sauce Sports TV, etc. You know what I mean? I mean, a lot of people we would love to have your life, Honcho.
I mean, it looks good online, but like I say, I think, like everybody else, I got my own issues to deal with, and like I tell people, don't always buy into the character on screen, because like I say, hey, I got the same problems everybody else has, but I do enjoy, and like I say, those do give me an outlet, and I do enjoy the interaction with everybody. So yeah, I think on that level, yes, people would love to have that.
And it's I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Between me and you, Honcho, I would love to see you on either Joe Rogan or Jocko or David Goggins' podcast. In my opinion, actually, hey, I gotta ask you. I wonder who would give the bigger rant, David Goggins, Jocko, or Wink. In my opinion, I think. I mean, Wink's a veteran too. So, I mean, do I think Jocko or David would probably win? I would say, yeah, probably, but. I don't know. Wink, he's got a pretty good sprint on him when it comes to them shouting rants.
Yeah. Wink gonna hold his own. Definitely will hold his own. So,
yeah.
It would be very interesting to see.
Yeah. Well, and especially, I said if they could get you, Wink, and I guess I have to throw Spitz in there because I like Spitz. If I can get the three of them on, if I can get three of y'all on Joe Rogan's podcast, talk about the Houston Texans and Houston, etc. But and one guy, I also who was a bigger part of helping me with my mental illness is maybe you know him, maybe you don't, I don't know, is a former Navy SEAL by the name of Dan Crenshaw.
Yeah, I've heard Dan Crenshaw. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, hell, dude got his face blown up, and I've looked at the man face to face, met the man, and yes, his face is freaking plastic, and so yes, and it's just like I've had, with me feeling sorry for myself, and I've had all these guys, who would wish they could have all my limbs and my life, just to be free. Like I am, and it's just it just goes to show like how much of a whiner I really was, and I think a lot of it, honestly, Honcho, and with this, as far as mental illness and everything, or being depressed. I mean, maybe you agree, maybe you don't, but I think sometimes age has something to do with it in terms of getting mature, learning how to deal with the trials of life, and realize hey, my life really is not that bad.
Correct.
Or it could be worse.
I agree. I could agree with that. I think, like I say, I wouldn't necessarily say age, but just experience as a whole. Because some people people at a young age have a tremendous amount of experience. Some people old as shit and they don't have any experience in life. So, Now, I would say the experience of being able to handle and deal with things definitely does play a factor.
Yeah. Well, and I don't want to take up too much of your time. I wanted to call you on the den real quick, spit in, my somewhat of my 2 cents. It's just that, I think a lot of the thing with mental illness has to do, with are you being proactive with it? I mean, yes, hell, my sister-in-law, when I was depressed and when I came back home and everything after my breakup and everything, and it's just, dude, I was nearly homeless, but, she was kind of, fucking around with me. And I said, I've been diagnosed as depressed, and she kind of laughed and said, well, just because you're depressed don't mean you can't have a sense of humor.
That's true.
It's just, I think a lot of it has to do with individual freedom and the choices that you make to get yourself out of that funk, because I've already said, God isn't going to magically do it. A magic pill is only a crutch. And and feeling sorry for yourself is not going to get anything done. You can listen to the greats, and who am I to tell anybody anything? But as a Hispanic man and grow up in the Hispanic community, the Hispanic community is not the Black community, and vice versa. But they have some similarities, especially here in Texas, as they kind of, I guess they kind of intertwine a little bit.
Yeah,
hell, I've met some Mexicans that think they Black.
I'm not gonna touch
Hey,
that
come
one.
on, Honcho. You know who I'm talking about.
Absolutely.
You know who I'm talking about.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so anyways, it's just that, I just think that people need to step back and realize that, that we are always in a good position and that 90% of the time your choices usually dictate what you are. And I've made a lot of choices that I wish I could go back and make, adjustments on, but, we can't. So instead of seeing, like Jocko said, seeing a failure as a defeat, I see it as an opportunity to learn. The power of good is inside all of us. Hey, my girlfriend broke up with me. Good. Now you can go get another one. My girlfriend broke up with me. Your boyfriend broke up with me. Good. You can go get yourself another one. Or, I lost my job. Well, good. Now you can go back and get a better one. I got a D on a test. Well, good. Now you can study harder and go get an A. It's just seeing opportunities and everything, But all right, Honcho. Hey, it's time to go to bed. It's time to go to work in the morning. But hey, it's good talking to you, Honcho, as always. Hey, thanks for letting me, rant. Yeah, I'm not Wink, but hey, but as you said, I try to put my 2 cents in when I can.
Alrighty, well, Mr. L. Lobo, man, I appreciate it. I'm glad that you were able to join us for the den this evening. I appreciate you sharing your story with us, man.
Hey, brother. Hey, I appreciate you, man. Thank you.
All right, you have a good evening.
Bye-bye.
Right. Shout out, Mr. L. Lobo. I'm glad to have him in the den. What's the motherfucking deal? Who we got calling into the den this evening?
Hey, Honcho, it's Misty.
Hello, Miss Misty. How are you this evening?
I'm okay. I just was gonna say that I do think depression is hereditary. I've suffered with depression for, I would say I really started recognizing it when I was a teenager, And that's the kind of sadness that is like you don't really know what's making you sad. You just feel, like just an overwhelming, just no motivation, just, nothing. But then there's situational depression too. That's what I call it. Kind of like what I've gone through losing my mom. There's a reason in behind it, but I don't know. I just it's really real, and I think one of the stigmas that a lot of people have about depression and anxiety, because you hear of those really the most, and then bipolar and things like that too. But it's like something you can't see. You can't see it on a person like you do if they have cancer or if they have diabetes or something like that. But it's still all considered mental illness. Not mental illness, a medical illness. As far as doctors go, depression is like diabetes. And I know some people would probably say, how is that? But you start to, talk to a doctor and ask them, but they could explain to you that, anything like that is I don't know how to explain it. It's just a disorder that you have, like diabetes, high blood pressure, depression, anxiety, whatever. But I think coping skills too help a lot, But when you don't have the motivation to do like a lot of stuff, it's like people don't understand because they can't really see it. If it's something they can see, like, to put your hands on, then it kind of makes more sense, because you're like, oh, he has a broken leg, I see a cast, or, oh, they have a, whatever, and this is what's going on with them. But when you're, you appear like you're lazy or you, all these different things, and there's just, it's a lot of stuff going on in your mind. And it is like battling demons. Let me tell you something. The times that I felt depressed and the anxiety that I felt, I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. It's horrible. It's a terrible feeling, It's not a good feeling at all, and I wouldn't wish that on anybody.
I agree. It can be a very debilitating feeling, and it can be...
yes.
It just really can make it difficult for you to think clearly and operate and function clearly. So I definitely agree that it's not a situation you want anybody to be in.
Right, and that's what when they were talking about the different communities, black community, white community, whatever, accepting depression and anxiety and things like that. I think it's because it's something they can't see. Like you don't see it with your eyes, So, why this one has echo? But I think it's I'm not sure how I'm putting it. It's if they say, oh, get up, get better, do this, do that, and you want to. It's not that you don't want to. It's just that like you said, the debilitating thing, but then also you do have to really try. You do have to put in that effort and try. So that's pretty much where I stand with that. And and as far as the young guy, just one final thought on that too. When I said they were all one step away from depression or whatever, I just mean that big things we can already be there sort of, and maybe big things could just sort of push us over the edge, as far as really having a major breakdown. Because I think maybe we've all been there on a serious note. We've all had a lot of bad things happen. So I'm sure at some point in time in our life we could think about when things were pretty bad, and if it had gotten much worse, you're like, oh, I can't take anymore, And then another thing with teenagers, I told you I used to work with the teenagers, the adolescents. They are very quick to just jump at something. They don't take a lot of time to think about it, a lot of them. So you see more suicide in the younger crowd than you do. I'm not going to say in the older crowd that you don't, but they're more younger people are just more impulsive, so they don't take time to think something through a little bit more. So when they plan a suicide or whatever that they plan, when they're really serious is when they no longer talk about it. They just go and do it, and maybe they've had some attempts, maybe they've talked about it, maybe they've done whatever they need to do to try to get your attention, to say, hey, there's something going on with me, and eventually they get tired of it and they just say boom, and they go and they just go and do it. I mean, because they don't want anybody to stop them. They've made it up in their mind that that's the way out of the situation. So that's why you're right about paying close attention. I don't know. That's all that I have to add to it. But I just I thought it's so important to pay attention to your kids, your nieces, your nephews, whatever. Just if you see something different, I don't know. Maybe anybody could try to talk to them, or just whatever. Because we need some really good role models out here for goodness. It's how you were talking about you were being doing the role model stuff,
Yes.
Okay, well, we need that. We really do need that with a lot of our young guys, because you wouldn't believe I mean, well, I guess you would believe, but when you go to like see how many kids are in the foster system and stuff like that, and they're all teenagers and they're boys, and they think a lot of the boys really think a lot of people don't care about them, and they don't have anybody to guide them and kind of really like show them the way about certain things, and then they end up veering off into a lot of different things. So anyway, that was just some thoughts that I had, on some of that. So I'm gonna let you go, but that's just, I don't know, thinking about that.
Okay, well, Miss Misty, I appreciate you sharing that with us, and like I said, I can understand some of the feelings, and that's actually pretty interesting. That may be something to look into. You say as far as the teenage foster system.
Oh yeah, definitely. I don't know if your state has like the big brother and big sister program thing, but you can definitely work with like teenagers and stuff like that. I don't know if you've ever thought about doing that some, but I think you would be pretty cool at something like that because it's just, I don't know. I mean, if you help one person, you're doing better than you did the day before. So anyway, okay then. That's what I wanted to say, and I've loved everybody else's responses have been really great. So thanks so much.
All right. Well, thank you for the call, Miss Misty.
Yes, sir.
Have a good evening. Interesting. These goddamn dogs outside fucking killing me. All right. It's very interesting, especially when you don't think about the situation that you got going on. But it was very interesting to go back to what was called when you were just talking about age and experience or and how that has an impact on it. And again, and sometimes people may be put in situations that are traumatic they end up thinking that it's the fucking norm. Female pimp, you stupid. Shut up. And so, and what's the motherfucking deal, Bad and Bougie? How are you this evening? But like I said, the thing about it is, it's like, and that could be the case, and none of it is easy. Like I say, we talk about how you handle things. And when he mentioned Jocko and he mentioned David, and a lot of them are just, and I talked about earlier about going heads up with the problems, what I'm saying? Going heads up with the issues that you have to deal with. Sometimes that's just what it is. Life is going to be unfortunate. Life is going to be tough. But I think when you look at the problems that you have and you say, okay, well, I can keep running from it and keep dealing with it. It's going to keep following you. Or you turn around and you go heads up with it. What was that Oklahoma drill with that bitch? And you got to take it on, man. And I think when you challenge that, when you go after those problems, you know what I'm saying, then I think you have a better chance of overcoming them. I think you have a better chance of dealing with them. And I think that, you just kind of figure it out. I don't know, I wouldn't say money solves every problem. So it solves the overwhelming majority of problems. But it's always going to be a problem or two that, money can't. Well, I guess Magic Johnson says otherwise. So, yeah, most of them. But, and again, like I say, it's a lot of stuff, and I get it, man. Like I say, the situation with me, like I say, everything else was tolerable, but it's just the point where, like I said, I'm like God, I can't control life. I can't, like, that was the fuck shit, and like I say, dealing with that, I lost a sister, I lost a best friend, and then, like I say, a significant other, all to situations I couldn't control, man. And that shit, like, again, like I said, it had me feeling a particular kind of way. Like I said, never, I never got to the point of being suicidal. Just, I just had this thought process where, I blame myself for a lot of shit and not being able to, I put a lot of blame, I put all that I put on myself. Even though it took me coming to a realization that, come on, fucking Honcho, that you like, what could you really do about that? Like, really having to sit and, like, I talk about from time to time sitting in the dark room and really embracing the problem. Like a lot of people like to run from shit. A lot of people like to fucking keep doing other shit to fill themselves up and avoid the real problem, and they don't realize that that's not helping you. It's just delaying the fucking situation. But like I say, it just took some time. Sometimes, like I say, sitting in that dark room and fucking just really focusing on the shit you don't want to fucking think about, and breaking it down and saying, you know what, this is what it is. This is where we are. Cognitive surfing. What's the motherfucking deal? It's like, you know what I'm saying? I'm a supporter of bullying, though. I think bullying is necessary. I think bullying helps overcome certain things. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think, you know, again, I don't believe in cyberbullying. Just get off the fucking device. Or, you know, bullying in schools, and people are like, oh, you support bullies. But it's like, teach a kid how to fight. And once they overcome that damn bully, they'll start overcoming a lot of other things in life, I think. Yeah. See, now how much of that, you know, those two things, one, you know, being in their life, and then two, you know, taking on those kids, like how much of that do you feel like helped you out of that situation? And like I said, you know, and here's my thing with the people that I love. Like I always said, y'all hear me talk about them time to time, and I'm like, man, you know what? I felt like they were all better people than me. You know what I'm saying? Like, they were all better people than me. I've been in some nonsense and some shenanigans and whatever it is, like going through some things I've told y'all about, and sit down for a little bit just looking at my surroundings and looking at the motherfuckers I was in that situation with, and just like, man, I don't want to end up being like these niggas, man. And it really started to change my my perspective on life, right? And it's just like, I can't go out like that. I got, you know, there's too many opportunities, too many situations, and, you know, things change from there. But like I said, there was some other stuff to go along with that. But, you know, and so like I said, it really took me just sitting there saying, you know what, ain't shit I could have done to prevent that. You know, it's not my fault that shit happened. Why am I putting this unnecessary burden on myself? And then, you know, like I said, it's just, it was just some shit that, like I said, you know, it just was what it was. But again, I feel bad. I think about it from time to time. But like I said, I don't go into that mode of, you know, where I was in that place. And like I say, just losing everything. Like I say, just taking losses, you know. And like you talk about money solves everything. And this is fucking true, man. Because like I said, when I got caught up in some shit a while back, and like honestly, I could have got out and kept doing the exact same shit I was doing to get caught up and taking care of all my problems, probably in 2 days. 2 days, maybe a week at the most. But because like I said, sitting there looking at these motherfuckers, say, I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna do this shit the right way. And sometimes that fucking integrity shit, it can be tough. It can be some bullshit. Sometimes it just be like, man, fuck that. Just do the shit and get the shit over with. All right, LOL, appreciate you coming through, man. Sometimes you just be like, man, I could just do this, that, and the third, get this shit done with, not be worried about it. But I tried to go, like I said, took the integrity route, and it had its own, you know, combination of problems. So like I said, you know, it is what it is at this point. You know, and moving forward and everything, but it's just like it can be a lot of wild stuff that happens from trying to be the good guy, try to do the right thing or whatever else, you know. It's much easier to handle shit with no conscience. It's much easier to do things and not give a fuck. But like I say, from doing the sauce, from doing the den, and especially, you know, this has helped me develop a legitimate concern for people. You know what I'm saying? A legitimate concern for, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, that's what I'm saying, man. You gotta, with the bullying situation, you gotta fight like every day. I mean, you gonna like, we gonna keep fighting until I get my win, or a bully gonna either realize, okay, this ain't an easy target to pick on, or it's gonna be, they catch your point. Wow, that's hating. But like I say, you know, or like you just like, it's gonna be to a point because, you know, they're gonna pick the easy targets, and once you show you ain't no longer an easy target, then it's just like shit. They gonna change the game. Look, that's what I say. Like, that's why you got to be in your kids' lives. You got to teach them, hey, look, we're gonna put you in some classes or whatever you got to fucking do. You know, get your scrap right, and you know, you're gonna fight back, and you're gonna take some lumps, and you're gonna realize that this shit is just temporary. You know what I'm saying? And it is what it is. All right, Prepaid man, good to see you, man. You know what I'm saying? I know it's a few less hogs out there. Thanks to Mr. Prepaid. Shout out to Prepaid man. I gotta fix these damn questions too, but Shelly, shut your ass up too. You be saying some nonsense. Look, we already know what you about. You know what I'm saying? We know you on some nonsense and some shenanigans and tomfoolery. So I ain't gonna get in on you tonight. But like I said, man, it's just everybody has to find their own way through things. You know what I'm saying? But the thing about it is, like we talking about with David and the Jocko thing, it's just basically like, man, hey, it is what it is. Bounce back, keep pushing. Bounce back, keep pushing. You know, like it's just and it's opportunity, man. Look, I don't want to. I'm gonna say this story for tomorrow. I ain't gonna lie to y'all. Y'all know I've been cooling. I was almost on some thirsty shit today. I'm gonna save it for tomorrow. Tomorrow's deal. I don't know what the topic is yet. I got about 15 topics written down, so we'll figure it out. But remind me to tell y'all the thirsty story. It's nothing major. It's like a real short, nonsensical story, but yeah. So. But again, man, like I said, you know, as far as everybody who's called in, I'm glad that y'all have. I'm glad that y'all have shared your stories. But again, and it kind of like I say, but what started this, like I say, also not just Dan's story, but the story of the young man who lost his life. Like that shit has really been bugging me, man, because again, you got a lot of these shit going on. You got a lot of these kids going through a lot of shit, man. And I feel bad for the kids. Like the parents, not so much. Fuck them, you know. If you chose that situation, you know, you chose to do certain things, you got to deal with that. That's just kind of how it rocks. But to put these kids unnecessarily in these situations, it's like, yeah, every now and then. All right, John, appreciate you coming through. Every now and then, like I said, we'll do some politics from time to time. We'll definitely do some politics from time to time. I got to find my list of topics. I think I got a few political things in there that we're going to discuss within the next couple of weeks. But what I'm going to try to do tomorrow is get all, like I did a couple of weeks back, and have all the topics for the next week coming up, and just have them already put out. So, you know, see, I want to be completely sheltered. It's like, it's a thin line between both of them. But like I say, I don't know. Like I say, it's just it's like. Oh yeah, go back to the young man. Like I say, it's about the kids, man. Like I say, because I think, you know, and especially like I say in the black community, we talk about that a lot. Like, you know, everything else that is being dealt with. Like, I'd love to see the kids get their shot. And if your parents and your family is holding you back from getting that shit, like that shit blows my mind. You know, we definitely talk about certain things where you don't hear certain shit in other communities, or it's prevalent either, or they're damn good about keeping that shit quiet, right? And I agree with that, yes. And I do agree with that in the youth. You would think adults would know that, but again, especially if this generation has grown up with the internet, you know, their entire lives, they may be a little bit lost. But like I said the other day, like I said, the highest rate of depression they say is for like teenager, like junior high girls and shit like that. And what they're saying is because they're looking, like I said, what it was is that they're looking at these IG models, they're looking at these women who've enhanced their bodies, who have photoshopped their bodies and done all this, and they developing and looking like their mama. And their mama ain't working with too much. And so they wondering, you know, if they're going to turn into this woman they see on the thing that's getting all the likes that all the boys are talking about, or, you know, they're going to end up being, you know, whatever they are. But again, like I say, it's I think people as a whole are just out of there. I think people as a whole, like, you know me, I've talked about, I don't like the fake shit. Like, fake shit bugs me. Like, I don't like fakery. When Trio called, Trio called in. He was talking about Nicki Minaj. Like I can't. This shit's unappealing to me. You know what I'm saying? I don't like fakery. But we live in a society where fake is encouraged. Where fake is pushed to the forefront. Hey, be this, do that. And all this other nonsense. And that's why I thought that video was pretty cool. Well, buddy exposed all them Instagram chicks who were photoshopping their shit. And they're supposed to be like an Asian out there that's supposed to have like a big old fat ass. And then when they showed her off, that bitch got pancake butt. And I was like, oh, this is terrible. Disappointed. But my thing is just like, man, look, be you. Appreciate somebody gonna fuck with you for who you are. But I think we have so much of this stuff too, where we're running from relationship to relationship, or we're running from person to person or thing to thing to hope that it's going to satisfy us, it's going to gratify us. But I think what people need to do more of is figuring out who the fuck they are, and find out who they are, loving themselves before you go trying to fucking love something else or somebody else, because you're just taking your fucking problems with them. You know what I'm saying? And that's just kind of what it is. Yeah, some men do like pancakes. Shelly, you would know. So my thing is just like, we got, everything is a distraction. So many distractions on Earth that I don't think enough people take the time to figure out who they are, what they want, what they're trying to get out of life. Instead, they're being told what it is. I ain't even finna start with Sweetberry. I ain't gonna tell y'all what Sweetberry sent me the other day. Terrible. But like I said, everybody's distracted by shit, and we're losing focus. And again, like I say, I love technology and the convenience it can bring, but again, at the same time too, everything in moderation. And I think that people are becoming obsessed with all this shit that they see online. They're getting more and more disconnected from reality. And yeah, I agree with that. I said it was a while back, because I remember I got, what was it, like when them droids had first came out, and I had them for a couple of bit, and I was like, man, fuck this. I'm gonna got me an old dumb phone, and my life was so much better with the dumb phone. That's why I've gotten off social medias on my phone. Like I took all that shit off, because it's a fucking distraction, and I've been much more productive in my day to day. Like I say, just getting things done and just making the right connections and just doing things that I need to do. That because that little 5, 10, 15 minutes here, you get lost on fucking Instagram or on Twitter or on whatever, and you do that 2 or 3 times a day, that shit adds up. You know what I'm saying? Now, that becomes the time for me to have one consistent, productive action or whatever else it may be that I got going on. And so I really don't even miss it too much. Like I say, you see this on that, I don't really care. Because I really, truly, I don't. Like I said, I don't really give a fuck about entertainers or entertainment, or like I say, the fucking don't really watch TV like that. I was gonna get on the mixer the other day, and I was just like, I booted that bitch up, man, and I'm not gonna lie, I booted that bitch up, and I was about to hit the broadcast button. I was just like, man, I don't even feel like getting on the games right now. Like, it's so much more that has to be done. Like, like El Lobo mentioned, we live in America, though. Like, for us to have such high rates of all of this shit, when you live in a country where you have like access to any and every fucking thing, you know what I'm saying? Oh man, you have to. I don't know. You might have to fuck with you. I don't know if the biometrics would work with that. That would be funny as shit. Maybe you can tell by how steadily you holding the phone or something. It was doing all that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, but like I say, man, I don't even follow people I went to high school with. I'm like, all this shit, none of that shit. Like, I don't care about none of that shit. Like, again, and I guess being disconnected is good. Taking a little hiatus is good. And when people say, oh, you need social media to do this and do. No, you don't, man. No, you don't. And I was going to talk about some other people that I listen to too, because Jocko and Goggins, they're really good. There's 2 other people that I do listen to, or I've come across recently, that I find extremely fucking interesting. One I like a little bit more than the other. One is the dude who's on YouTube. What's his name? Sam Becker, and he's cool. He's interesting. But he's more, you know, as far as the shit he talks about is more about, you know, online business and things like that. But just the way of thinking is crucial. But there's a guy I come across that I listen to, Sam Ovens. And Sam Ovens, probably within this last month or so, has just given me the insights on things. Like, and sometimes it's shit you fucking know. You know what I mean? It's like, it's shit you fucking know. But it's like, why am I not thinking about this? And so, just perspective and shit and really change the mentality, you know, stop thinking for the short term, really start thinking long term and everything that goes with that. You know, I don't know, Shelly ain't got no dick in a long time. Shelly stayed with some dick in the brain. I'm not even gonna say nothing after that. But, you know, it's like, it's just all the options there. But like I said, going back to saying what I'm saying is just that for us to have so many high rates of depression and all this other shit here in America, where you have every fucking opportunity to do anything you fucking want to, and people are not taking advantage of that shit, it's like, it baffles me. You know what I'm saying? I get it. I guess because I'm not an envious person. I'm not a person that I don't really compare myself to, like, cause the shit that people are, I don't really want to be. I'm not trying to accomplish things. Of course, there's things you want to have. There's things that are nice and things like that. But I wish everybody success. Like, I truly mean that. When I want to see everybody be successful, because everybody could eat if everybody put, you know, got their grind on. Like, I'm a firm believer in that. You know, I hate people who disrupt and take. I can't stand that. Like I say, you know, I respect the hustle. I don't care how you get it in. If you selling dope, if you doing whatever, I don't respect jackers. I hate jackers. I hate thieves. You know, like, whatever you're doing to put food on your table, I commend you. Now, I mean, I say it may not be the best situation. I'm going to talk about if it has a negative impact on things, but you got to do what you got to do. Who the fuck am I, right, to tell you that, who am I to tell you that you can't? I used to listen to Polite. I used to listen to Polite a while back. I haven't listened to Polite in quite some time. Last time I seen Polite, oh man, he was with a fine chick, and she had took him shopping, I think at Gucci and some shit like that. And people were mad because he was buying Gucci and shit like that. He was like, well, shit, she wanted to take me there. Like, I'm gonna tell her, you know, where she gonna spend. Like, I ain't mad at you, pimpin'. Do your thing. The other two, I'm not as familiar with. The other two I'm not as familiar with. But I definitely used to listen to Brother Polite. Very interesting perspectives. I think he's an intelligent dude. But like I say, just, you know, I'm not knocking nobody else. Do what you got to do. As long as you ain't disrupting what somebody else got going on, as long as you ain't interfering with that. But like I said, we live in a country where, in reality, if you wanted it, you can get it. You know, but a lot of people, again, you know, aren't thinking long term. You know, what was it? Kanye said it. You know, if you ain't got the land, they'll settle for a brand. And that's part of the problem. Like, people put this value into these brands and these fucking Jordans and these other things right there, you know, but and not really realizing, like, the value is in you, man. It's like the fucking material and all that other shit ain't shit. It's you, man, that you have to be focused on. See, now, as I'm talking about jackers and thieves, you know, well, then Sweetberry pops up, you know, because she's a pistachio thief. That's all she does is steal fucking pistachios. She ain't been on a hustle. So, you know, like I say, it's really what you put your mind to. It's what you put your focus on, man. And ultimately, the things you want, the things you seek, if you really truly about that. And again, if you're putting steps towards that every fucking day, I mean, it's there to have, man. You know, but I think we in certain environments, certain neighborhoods, certain communities, however you want to look at it, sometimes we discourage ourselves. People around us discourage it, but you got to look at the intentions of the people who are around you. You know, because they never did it, they don't want you to do it. Because they believe that they can't do it, they don't want you to do it. You know, so I think you have to think, oh, look at Miss Angela come popping up late, colored people's time. We ain't seen Angela since what? New Year's Eve. She talking about she turning up, and then she just turned up too much and turned down on us. But like I say, you know, it's all about you, man, and part of that is believing in yourself. I think, and that's like I say, taking on the hard challenges. I think what happens with a lot of people is they start venturing into something new, and then they're like, this is a little difficult. This is a little tough. This is a little okay. Watching from Canada, appreciate that. God damn it. Where the fuck is Bruh Lee? I don't even want to talk about it. We'll talk about that tomorrow, that nonsense tomorrow. We've got a call coming in, my bad. What's the motherfucking deal? Who we got calling into the den this evening? This will probably be our last call for the evening, y'all. Who we got calling in tonight?
Hey, this is Yaz.
Yasmin, how are you this evening?
I'm doing okay. I'm just listening to your show tonight. I wanted to say, just bring out 2 points. I know the last caller was saying that mental illness didn't have a look to it, and I just wanted to add in that it actually is a look. If somebody's like really depressed, you can look at them. Usually, they don't care about their appearance. They're not bathing. They're not eating. They're not washing their face, combing hair. They can't look you in the eye. Somebody who is bipolar or like going through some sort of psychosis, their eyes are like wild, crazy. Their speech is really, really fast. So there are physical signs that manifest itself that comes from mental illness. I think I might have said that backwards, but doctors usually can see that in patients. If somebody, just like somebody with like an autism or schizophrenia or something, it's like you can look in their face and tell they're not there.
I partially agree with you, and I partially disagree with you on that. And why? Because there's certain people who have done things themselves, and obviously you would just never know, because some people are very good at wearing the mask. And they could be going through all of the torment inside and all of whatever they're dealing with inside, but yet they do the little things because they want to keep up certain appearances. Now, I think that I do agree that there are some of those who.
Now, check this out. This might be a little different, but I don't feel like people who commit suicide may not necessarily have a true mental illness. They probably have this new mental illness that's called social media. They need to have a term for that, because they may have looked at their lives and felt like, oh, I'm just not living up to what I'm supposed to be. Everybody I know is doing well. They're all posting this or posting that, and it's just getting them to a point where they can't handle life's pressures. I don't think suicide discriminates whether you need to be totally, like, clinically mentally ill, like where we could see it in your face and you're not responding and you're not, your behavior is just all out of just seriously something's really wrong there. I think somebody could be perfectly fine, and something may happen in their life that may make them feel like, hey, this is over with. I don't have no choice but I should just die now because there's no hope for me. I think if you feel that way, I wouldn't think that necessarily need to be called mental illness. Maybe more life skills. Maybe those types of people. I think most adults nowadays need to learn life coping skills. To push back the suicide rates, and they need to learn how to unplug from the social media. I could tell you, it's just a little story about myself. I used to have a business, and when I first got it, it was maybe 7 years ago or so, and I flipped my sign open. Okay, I'm open. I'm in business. I have all my licensing. I have everything I needed to have. I'm planned out. My business plan is made. My menu is made. Everything is done. So I start doing, you should go on social media and start promoting your business on social media. So I started doing that. And when I tell you, like my pictures would get hundreds of likes, and I'm getting all excited, and I'm thinking, wow, look at all these people about to come in. And everybody change plans. Let's do this. Let's do that. Let me buy more inventory. I need to order a larger truck. I need to do this. I need to do that, because I'm about to get all these businesses, all this business that's coming in because I'm getting hundreds of likes on Facebook. Man, when I tell you the days that had that like that, when I say not one person walked through the door, and it just was like, what? That's when I really woke up. Like, this is just because they liking it on Facebook or it's hot online. Doesn't mean that it's gonna be hot in person. Because in real life, I know me and several other business owners that it almost felt like we were in competition, but I don't know if they were in competition with me, but in my mind, I felt like I was I'm trying to compete with my competitors, and in my mind, I'm thinking, I'm about to get all these people, and it's just completely false. It's just not right, and just looking at that made me go against my better judgment, go against the business plan that I had mapped out. It just did everything. It just changed my whole operation. It just destroyed it, because of what I was thinking in my head. Afterwards, did I go into a depression? Yeah, I was depressed afterwards, but it wasn't like where I would call it like a clinical depression. It wasn't something that, okay, I may need to see a doctor and get on some drugs because there's a chemical imbalance that's going on in the brain that's making me. It was more so I needed to maybe talk to somebody and grow up and start learning things that, hey, this is life. This is called an adult. You lose some, you win some, you're going to get another chance. Use this as a learning lesson, and I think a lot of people are missing that skill today than just being just some chemical imbalance. People are just born deformed now. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think that's really. I think we're using the term mental illness just too loosely, just way too loosely.
So you wouldn't think that the new modern diet and the way people eat and things like that, you don't think that plays anything into it as to also, along with social media and all other things so you don't think that has anything to do with it?
No, I don't think it has anything to do with, I don't think it has anything biologically to do with it. I think it has more so social conditioning now. Our social conditioning has become so toxic that now any little thing happens to somebody, the first thing they'll feel like, oh, there's no tomorrow. Oh my God, I posted this picture and I only got 2 likes. There's no tomorrow. Or I posted something and I just came across a story earlier today about some lady. She got engaged and she posted all her relationships all over Facebook. And 2 or 3 days later, her man murdered her. So so you're thinking you're so consumed with trying to present like this living your best life stuff online that you're forgetting to check into reality and to deal with what problems that are facing you in your home, in front of you today, in reality.
Correct.
So that's just my opinion about the mental illness thing. And another thing that ties in with people learning life skills. I was listening to the young man earlier, and he was talking about the black community and drugs and et cetera. Well, I can tell you how the system, how healthcare handles black people with mental illness is just not enough. It's basically if you have drug or an alcohol problem and you get arrested, they leave you in lockdown till you're having to have to detox that out. But while you're locked up in jail or in the hospital and you're shaking that chemicals out of your body, going through detox and withdrawal, there's not real counselors in those places, in those jail institutes and state hospitals. There's nobody out there really trying to dig and do the work and trying to help a person to fix their own problems in their life, to realize it. They're just rather just give you some pills that they give every inmate in there. You get on this medication and they set you loose, and you're back on the street, on the drugs, doing the same dumb stuff all over again.
Well, should a person be looking for help on their own time?
Really going in. Huh?
But should a person be looking for help, prior to going to jail or things like that? I mean, like should they be seeking some type of assistance?
If you really look at it, okay, to see a real psychologist, I call it a real doctor, a specialty psychologist, that takes hundreds of dollars in insurance. First of all, you have to have good insurance for one, because those psychologists are not going in there taking Medicaid. The state hospitals, just like with anything else, you're going to get you're going to get 10 minutes with a doctor over the TV screen, or you're just going to you're not going to get the help that you really need unless you have the money to pay for a real psychologist to go in there and really diagnose you and really help you unravel your life to see how we can put it back together so that you can be a functioning, productive member of society, Instead, if you go to the state hospital, the county clinic, or whatever, you're talking to somebody in maybe 10 to 15 minutes, they write you some drugs, and you just push right on back out into the street. And they're not going through what you really, they're not doing the counseling work. And a lot of people are growing up, I know this personally from some family members, that it just blows my mind. They walk around with these diagnoses, and I'm like, there's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with you. Only thing I could say that's wrong is you just don't know. The expectations of you just don't know any better. Nobody took the time out and tried to unravel certain issues you may have. Nobody took the time to try to get you to critically think about your problems and how to solve them. Instead, you turn to drugs, you turn to crime, and now you're getting a crazy check, and you just go to the clinic for an hour, and you wait in line half that time anyway. When you finally get the doctor, they just write you a prescription. They just ask you, do you hear voices, or are you seeing something? And it depends on whether you're about to do some real time and you're going to say yes or no to that question. And now you're out, So I don't see where any of this is really helping people other than Black people need the access to get somebody that's really trained in psychology to help them unravel things, to get real trained counselors, because the county stuff isn't it. The government aid is not doing it. The government aid is just not doing it. So those are my opinions. I just wanted to share with everybody tonight. I mean, it's a good topic, so I'm really enjoying the call. So everybody's bringing in some pretty good information. The chat is off the chain too, so as always. Yeah, it is.
Okay, well, Miss Anna, like I say, I appreciate you calling in and sharing your opinion. And like I say, it's an interesting view, and I do think social media does have a big impact on what's going on a lot today.
It really does. And when I tell you that when I realized that, I was like, oh my God, here I'm out here buying more stuff than I needed with my business because I'm looking at social media. And that's when I knew it was all fake. There are times I could put up a post and it's being shared hundreds of times, and I'm thinking I'm about to get this nice crowd in, everybody saying they coming, and nobody showed up. Or, you'll see a post by somebody you went to school with, and they having all these inspirational quotes on their page, and they're taking pictures with exotic cars and stuff, and come to find out the man washing the cars. He's washing the cars, and he's living just as much as you, but he online he'll make it seem like he, like you're not on your shit because I'm on my shit because I have all of this. And it's all a lie.
Yeah, definitely can filter your life on the internet, which is again, like I say, a crazy thing.
Same with relationships. These people sit here and talk about how they got this great man, this great relationship, and 2 days later you're dead. You kids didn't been that great, you know? So
that's unfortunate. Red
social
flags
media, if
equal
you're
body
not careful.
bags.
Yeah, if you're not careful, social media have you out there feeling like a loser when really you're just right where you need to be in life, you know? Yeah. So I think until people really get to understand that, then they'll stop being so hard on themselves. That's why I had to learn. Yes, stop being so hard on yourself. It's okay. You're right where you need to be, medium age. You're doing medium age stuff, and and you're right where you need to be at. You should be trying to compare yourself to another medium age chick that's online lying about her body. So, or she's lying about her money or her relationship or her house and her kids. It's all lies. It's all lies.
I agree. A lot of fabrication.
Yeah. Exactly. Oh, yeah, so I'm going to go and sip on this tea. I made me some hot tea. So, yeah, that's my little nightcap, and continue to listen to the show. That's all I wanted. That's all I had to say, Honcho.
Yeah, all right, Miss Yas. Well, I appreciate you calling and sharing that. You have a good evening.
All right, bye-bye.
All right. Shout out to Miss Yasmin. Good to hear from her. But I think we're going wrap it up on that one. You know what? If you're not used to it, Sweet Berry, get used to it. Because this is what it is now. Already, Miss Brenda, appreciate it. But I agree, man. Don't let the social media shit fool you. There's a lot of motherfuckers getting by just like you getting by. A lot of fly-by-night bullshit. People get to filter their lives the way they want to. Again, the same thing I tell you with that. Like I have the ability to filter whatever messages I want to say to y'all. But again, I like to try to be as real and genuine as I can. I'm a person just like all the rest of y'all. Like I don't like that. Oh, I'm this and that. Like I don't. I mean, here's the thing. Like I don't want to say I don't care about subscribers and followers and all that other stuff. I don't like the term followers because it seems weird to me. Subscribers, I guess that's cool. But the numbers are irrelevant because it's about the interactions, about the real engagement. Like I say, right now, what are we about 20-something deep? Occasionally we get about 40. Sometimes we get more. Sometimes we get less. And it's like, 4,300 on this channel. So the numbers are whatever they are. I've seen channels with 100,000. I've seen channels with 1 million followers and only have, a couple of people in their live streams or whatever. Y'all know I like to do the lives or whatever. So that's what means to me is like, say each and every one of you who come in here and participate, live. And some of y'all catch it later. I mean, everybody can't catch it at the same time. It is what it is. But, I appreciate y'all for being here. Like I said, we got a lot of stuff going on through this week. I got a bunch of topics. Again, if you ever want to suggest a topic, feel free to shoot me a letter. And I know some of y'all sent some letters, and I need to reply back to some emails I need to reply back to. But I've definitely got some of the topics suggested, some of the opinions on, just ideas for the show. So I appreciate all of that. But until tomorrow, like I say, we are off on the den. There is no den on the weekends, but because, like I say, I showed so much love last week, man, I sincerely appreciate it. I said, at least I could do is throw an extra show there because, again, like I say, y'all are great people. I enjoy kicking with y'all. I ain't gonna lie. Just denless days, the days that I'm just like, it feels like I need to be in the den right now, but it is what it is. But with that being said, we're ready to wrap it up. Tomorrow, 9 o'clock. Make sure you're following. Let me put the right shit there so y'all can see it. Even though I'm not on the social media, like I say, if I'm on my PC, I will check certain things from time to time. So make sure you're following Ed Honcho HTX on Twitter. Digital Live on Facebook. You can join the Facebook, like the Facebook page, join the Facebook group. Ed Honcho HTX on the Instagram, because like I said, you'll still get the updates as far as what the topic is for the night, in case YouTube doesn't send you a notification or whatever, all that stuff. So that way, if you're following there, you'll get to see all that. With that being said, again, it is an honor. It is a privilege, and I forgot to say it the other night, and I felt bad about it after I was off the street. But most of all, it is my pleasure to get to chop it up with you guys every night that we go live, now Monday through Fridays. But y'all ain't got to go home. It's weird. It is weird. It's a little earlier than usual. But y'all got to get the fuck up out of here, man. It's your boy Ed Honcho. I thank y'all. I really do. I'm out.